Sports on Tap is brought to you by Go To Pro Plumbing, Land and Sea Motorsports, On the Bay Customs Boutique and Cafe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
I don't know what we're yelling about!
I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game. We're talking about practice.
Loud noises!
Not a game.
This is the first time in my life I'm glad I'm deaf.
We're talking about practice, man.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
65.
63. Knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, with loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping. With music that's jaw dropping, they getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke, from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening and you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and ride with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go and all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Welcome to this week's edition of Sports on Tap. I'm Chris Scott alongside Joe Waddell and Frank Giagata. Gentlemen, how are we?
Doing good.
We're here.
How about you?
Doing all right. You know, can't complain too much, I suppose.
And if you did, nobody probably care anyways.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, what's the point, honestly? I don't know. What do you guys want to get into first? I mean, there's a little bit of news with the Lions today. Or do you want to talk about the game on Sunday first against the Packers, or like what they did today?
I'll let you guys lead this one. I have some.
I know you have some choice thoughts.
I have some choice thoughts on every bit of it. So we'll.
I almost want to jump right into your choice thoughts. Like, do you want to hold off on it?
It's up to you guys. You tell me where we're going, and let's just go there.
Let's just start there because, I mean, I don't really have an opinion on the game either way. It's a lost season at this point.
The only opinion I have on it was thank you, Green Bay, for finally putting the notion to rest that the Lions had a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, your team's not good. Yeah, of course, do they look better? Absolutely. That's what happens when you play for a coach that you don't hate. You look better.
And when fun is brought back into this game.
You look better, yes.
Yeah. Like, everybody says you get paid to play a kid's game. Kids' games are fun.
Yes.
These guys weren't being paid to play a kid's game.
Yeah.
They were being paid to play Matt Patricia's game.
Right.
But
so, yes, did they look better? 100%. But again, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
They're not playing for a guy they hate.
And I think it goes more to the fact that they hated playing for Matt Patricia, as opposed to Daryl Bevell is like this great, fun coach that, look at them play. They're playing for him. They're having fun again. Right. No, they're playing for a guy. It doesn't matter who it is, as long as it's not Matt Patricia and he's not running like a boot camp. You know what I mean? Like
literally, it could have been anybody in that position.
It doesn't matter who it is. And let's drop this notion of oh my God, look how much fun they're having.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. Like yes, they are out there having more fun.
That was really exciting for the first week.
Right, like
now I really don't care how much fun they're having because I'm not having fun watching them lose.
Well, it's one thing that yes, they are having more fun as a football team, but that's not what you need to look at as a fan and go, oh, I'm so glad they're having fun again.
Right.
Okay. Congrats. That's great.
Which brings me to the news of what the Lions did today, as they brought in Barry Sanders and Chris Spielman to the front office as in more of advisory roles.
Well, Spielman's
role is legitimate.
His role is permanent.
Yeah, he left the booth. He's going to leave the booth and join the front office as a special advisor.
And I had seen people polling for him to actually be in contention for that GM job. So I don't hate that they brought him in. I just question the capacity.
My thoughts on it, and you guys know I love Chris Spielman.
Yeah.
I just recently got a Chris Spielman Buffalo Bills jersey. So even though he went to Ohio State, that is what it is. No big deal.
I forget about that once they leave there.
Yeah, fair enough.
For almost every player. You know what I mean? Like, I forget about that.
There's certain guys that I'll remember it for, but like with AJ Hawk. Yeah, I know he played there, but
Yeah.
I couldn't care less.
But honestly, the move it literally does nothing for me. It's just, to me, it's SOL. It's same old Lions. Like, yeah, you bring in a name, it gets the fans excited about it, and that's all well and good. But again, you're bringing in a guy with no front office experience, and obviously we know how that turned out previous. A guy that was actually good in the booth, he comes in to run. He's not running the franchise, but he's in that role to help run the franchise.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute. It might have been the biggest front office disaster in the history of North American sports.
Yes, I agree with that. With Millen,
Yeah.
he was.
I don't even think there's an argument for it.
I mean,
Matt Millen as the Lions GM was nothing short of a back alley abortion.
yeah, it was bad, like incredibly
So
bad.
that's what that was. With Spielman, I see it as a little different than that. I believe they're at least headed in the right direction in some of this angle. So I'll give them credit where credit's due.
I will say this though: at least Spielman has a brother who is been in this league and has been in front offices for the better part of a decade at least.
Yeah.
So at least he can learn from him a little bit and kind of take that knowledge with him.
And Spielman knows his shit, right? I
Right.
mean, I look at him as he knows his shit. The Barry Sanders thing is window dressing.
It's more of an ambassador, an ambassador type.
It's
role.
literally it's for fans.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's for
Exactly.
fans. It's oh look, we've got Barry Sanders
Right.
sitting with us, looking at GMs now. Look at Barry Sanders. Oh,
Right.
look at him.
They
That's
probably
all
would have
that
done the
is.
same thing with Calvin if Calvin was even on speaking terms with the
Right.
organization.
Like that's all that. Well, that's all that is. It's Chris Spielman actually does know his shit. I will give them credit for that move. Whereas at least it's not Sheila and Rod Wood just making these decisions and doing this on
Right.
their own. At least they realize they need to get some help, and they went to a person for help. Whether that's the right person or not, or he has enough experience, I'm gonna say I think they probably should have went with somebody with more experience. But at least they are making an effort. I will give them that credit. And you know I hate giving the Lions credit for fucking anything.
But the thing with the Lions, though, is like, why is it every move that they make, it's always questioned? It's never, that's like a really good move. That's a really good move. It's always, well, is this a good move or is the move
Because
does the move
even
suck?
the moves that on
it's
paper
never just
are
a good move, ever.
like anything that they've done, though, even the good moves on paper that this organization has made haven't worked out. So there isn't ever a move that's going to be, well, that was a good move. Because even when it is, it's not.
See, and I actually agree with you, Frank.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
I think that's what it is. I think this franchise has made so many shit moves that when you look at a move they make now, you have no choice but to second guess it because
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
It's
I mean,
almost.
but I'm just why? Why is it always that? You know,
it's almost because they failed so many times that they don't get the benefit of the doubt now.
Right.
It's you're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, well, this is a good move. Whereas, I will kind of say, at least it's a smart move. It's a smarter move than what I've seen them make in a long time. They at least bring in somebody that knows more about football than them.
At least on paper.
Right. Well,
As
yes,
Frank
yes,
said,
yes.
yes, on paper.
On paper, it's a smarter move than they've made in
Right.
years.
I know. To me, like I said, it does honestly nothing for me because I think it's just more SOL. I really do. It's just bring in a name that the fans know. Okay, we'll buy some time. But like you guys don't even have to buy time. Fans are always going to be there. Always.
I 100% agree with that point on Barry Sanders. That's all Barry Sanders is. Barry Sanders is window dressing. It's bullshit. It's oh, look at this.
Right.
Spielman, I look at it a little bit differently. At least he knows a little bit. And looking at hearing him call games and hearing his broadcasting, he does know football. So at least that's somebody that's going to be behind the scenes, at least questioning some of the shit that they're gonna do, some of the decisions that are gonna be made. At least they have somebody with football knowledge.
Right.
Now, whether it turns out like Matt Millen or not, God only knows.
don't-
We know how that went.
I don't know if anything could be worse than that. Anything.
It can't.
Anything.
It can't. It definitely can't. That's what lost me as a Lions fan.
Yeah.
I
That's
feel
exactly
like
what
at
lost me
this
as a
point,
Lions fan.
though, like every time in the capacity of anything that somebody says it can't get worse, right now it's finding a way.
But no,
So let's not
can't-
issue that as a challenge.
It cannot get worse in the Matt Millen era. It
In
can't.
2020, don't ever say the words. It can't get worse.
That's a fair point.
It is what it is. I'm kind of like you. I'm not so far on your side as it's just it is what it is. But for the most part, it is. It is what it is. They brought in somebody with some football knowledge. Let's see where that takes them. It was a smart move, considering the shit moves they've made in the past decade.
Obviously, the bar is not exactly high in that regard.
It's not.
I will tell you as a fan too. Like, do I hate this move? No. But does it make me feel comfortable that Spielman's now the only one in that room who knows anything about the sport of football? No, it doesn't.
But that in itself is pretty sad,
right?
It's like, come on, man. What do we
like? No offense to Sheila, we don't really know much about her at this point. Rod has openly admitted that he knows nothing about the sport of football.
Yeah, and he's still in the role that he's in.
And now Chris Spielman comes in as an advisor.
Yeah.
As an advisor,
he comes in as the brains of the operation. Right. Is what he comes in as.
And the brains of the operation is the advisor to the accountant, basically.
Yeah, right.
Like that's.
But I always look at moves like this when like a player that's well liked by a fan base goes back to either manage or coach or run a team. And I always look at it as like, man, that could be a really bad move. Like when
look at the situation Elway's put himself in.
Exactly.
And yes, granted, he won himself a Super Bowl, but he won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning,
right? And
hasn't done shit outside of that.
That's like even when Eisman came back to the Wings, it's like, dude, you're a legend.
And these are
Alan
not
Trammell,
fireable guys,
right? Like Alan Trammell when he managed the Tigers, it was an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
So I always kind of look at that when like I guess legendary players for a certain franchise come back.
Well, and with Stevie Y, at least he has a track record in Tampa.
Like Eisman, I felt significantly more comfortable with it because he as you just said, he does have the track record of building a team that can be competitive and go far in the playoffs.
Right.
And I know this is a little bit off of the topic, but I mean, on that point that you just made, how do you get rid of him if this goes sideways?
That's kind of where I was trying to get to is that's why I'm not necessarily a huge fan of when moves like this are made, because it's like, I mean, granted, it's on the person that accepts the job, and they know if they fuck up, then fans they're not going to be happy about it.
And when Arizona or then Phoenix hires Wayne Gretzky as a coach,
God, what a disaster that was.
Yeah, it went terribly. Yeah. But the city of Phoenix has no ties to Gretzky.
No,
that goes south. You can fire him, and you don't lose anything.
And that was.
But L.A., Edmonton, even St. Louis or New York,
right,
make that move. It's a whole different situation when you're trying to get rid of him.
It's a very, very, very delicate situation. I guess when a move like that is made, and like I said, the person that takes the job, they know full well they take their responsibility, and you know what, all right, if you want to do it, that's obviously your choice. Have at it, man. But God hope you're successful, man.
I hope nothing more than Stevie's here for 50 more years, and he's the most successful GM to ever be in hockey.
Right.
But
and especially with the Lions, you better be fucking successful
with the Lions,
yes.
Especially right now. Like these terms, we'll call them, these terms for these guys are getting shorter and shorter. It was 3 years. Now it's, that bar is kind of being moved down. People are saying we want results in a year or two. If you're not getting those results in a year or two, so with Spielman in this case, I think fortunately they put him in a position where they can move him around or kind of show him out the door if need be. But any more power, and that would be a really sticky situation.
Like I said, like you guys know how much I like Spielman, so I do hope it works out. It's so hard to just say, yeah, this is absolutely going to work out because it's of the franchise that is involved. So like I said, I hope it does, and if it does, fantastic. I'm still not going to become a fan of them, even if it does work out, because I'm just done with this fucking franchise. But
is there anything, and this goes to both of you,
no.
Is there anything that could be done to get both of you back on board?
Absolutely not. I'm
not
done.
a thing.
Done.
Not a thing. And I'll tell you, we talked about this a little bit over the weekend. It's one of those things where I hate the franchise for what they put me through as a fan, but at this point, I also hate the fans so much.
Oh, here we go, baby.
That it makes me hate the franchise even more.
This is a perfect segue.
Like I can never be a fan of that franchise again.
Okay.
Because of what they put me through, and then also the fans. I can't stand the fans. And it is, listen, I'm about to offend a lot of people, so buckle the fuck up. And what I'm going to tell you as Lions fans is this doesn't apply to all of you. And you'll know if this doesn't apply to you. And if you don't know, then it fucking applies to you. You are losers. You have a loser mentality. Being a fan of the Lions, you should have a fucking infomercial that says if you've been a fan of the Lions for 10 years or longer, you are due financial compensation because you've turned into a fucking loser. You look at this franchise and make excuses for fucking everything that they do. Every loss has an excuse behind it. Oh, the refs hate us. Oh, the NFL hates us. Oh, the Green Bay Packers have the refs in their pocket. This, that, and the other fucking thing. It's an excuse after an excuse after an excuse. It's a loser's mentality. You've turned into a loser because you watch a loser franchise. Get your fucking head out of your ass. Stop being a fan of this franchise and stop being a fucking loser.
I think that's very well said.
All I heard about that Green Bay Packers game was all about the not catch. The catch that wasn't a catch. Okay? Let me break this down for fucking fans out there that watch this fucking game and think they know shit, okay? You don't know shit. First of all, that call on the field, when it gets made like that, you have trouble reversing it when you can't get a good enough angle on it. And you can't
You have to pay attention to the wording that these refs use, too.
Right. You can't reverse that call. Now, was it a bad call? Yes, I personally think it was a catch. But when you rule it not a catch on the field, you have trouble reversing it without conclusive evidence.
He never said that call was confirmed. He said the call on the field stands.
Because there was not conclusive evidence.
Because there was not enough there to overturn it.
Yes. So when it comes down to it, they scored 6 plays later. So that did not lose you the game. And I know where you're going to go with this Lions fan. And let me jump in here for you. You're going to go to the fact that Matt Stafford got hurt a couple plays after that on that same drive. And he did. He got folded in half. But you know what? It's football. Shut the fuck up. The bad call got made. It's the NFL. Bad calls get made all the time. Last night's game is a perfect example. There was 15 players on the field for Baltimore's defense last night. 15.
Yes, there was.
You know how many? Okay, and for you fans out there that think you know what you're talking about and you don't, which there's a lot of you, let me explain this to you. There's supposed to be 11 guys on the field, right? And I know a lot of you going, how many is there supposed to be? There's supposed to be 11 fucking guys on the field. There was 15.
Yeah.
15. And the refs didn't catch it. Cleveland had to throw a challenge flag.
Which I didn't even know that could be challenged.
I didn't either. They had to throw a challenge flag in order to get that call made. 15 players. Now, let me spell this out for you. That's 4 more players than they're supposed to have on the field. And the refs didn't call it. So it's not just your Lions franchise that gets bad calls against them. The NFL doesn't hate your franchise. The NFL refs are just bad at their jobs overall. And if you watch the games,
we've known that.
And if you watch the games, you know this. And if you didn't just have your head up the Honolulu blue and silver fucking asshole that you have your head up all the time, you would know that in football games on Sunday, on Monday, on Thursday, there's bad calls for every team. So stop having a loser mentality, get your fucking head out of your ass, and realize that this franchise is a loser and it's made you a loser. There are no excuses. Get over it.
And of all franchises for the NFL to have a vendetta against, the Detroit Lions, really?
Right. Yeah.
Like, you have to do
That's the
something.
franchise you think they would choose? Come on.
Something harmful.
What are we doing here? Come on.
Like, I don't know. That whole mindset just baffles me, and how leagues have it out for certain teams and everything. Like, and Chris, I know this is one that you'll definitely go with. The Red Wings.
Mm-hmm.
They win 4 cups in, what was it, like 13 years or whatever it was?
Around that, yeah.
And people at the end of it are saying, oh, the NHL hates the Red Wings.
Really?
The NHL hates the Red
Hates the Red Wings.
Do you understand that the Red Wings were an ATM for the NHL?
Yeah. And they won
close to 20 years.
And they won 2 cups back to back.
Like, if the NHL could have done anything at that point, they would have pushed the Red Wings to the forefront.
Oh, absolutely.
And just continued to just print money.
Gary
off of
Bettman
them.
hates the Red Wings. No, he doesn't. He
No.
didn't. He didn't.
You know what the NHL or
doesn't.
the NFL's pissed at right now? The NFL's pissed that New England's in the position they're in.
Exactly.
The NFL doesn't even realize Detroit still has a franchise at this point.
I mean, yeah, I can't necessarily disagree with that, but that just goes to Joe's point and your point. It's like, it takes a bit of arrogance to think that the NFL hates you. Like,
even more arrogance to think the NFL gives a shit about
like
you.
your shitty franchise. You think the NFL thinks that much of your shitty franchise that it has a vendetta against your shitty franchise. Like, come on, really?
You're the equivalent of a Phoenix Coyotes. You're the equivalent of a Charlotte Hornets.
You don't even matter.
Yeah, like you're the afterthought.
You matter one time a year.
Every
Thanksgiving. That's
6 to 8 years, you end up in a fantasy playoff bracket, and everybody's like, "This is the year," and then it doesn't end up being the year, and then nobody thinks about you again until your team retools.
Exactly.
Which they retool every 5
Your
years.
franchise only
So-
matters once a year, and
Yep.
that's on Thanksgiving. That's it.
And even then, you're the 12:30 game when half the people are still hungover and sleeping, and the other half of the people are sobbing in misery
That's
about
fact-
to
that is
stuff
factual,
their
yes.
stomachs.
And I'm about to offend Lions fans one more fucking time.
Okay.
By all means.
When was the Lions 0-16 season?
2008, I believe.
I was going to say, over
Yes.
a decade ago.
Yes, it was 2008.
Yep.
When was the Cleveland Browns 0-16 season?
Like 3 seasons ago? 4 seasons ago?
Three years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago. And the year before that, they went 1-15. The year before that, they won 3 games.
Yep.
So they won 4 games in a 3-year span. Now, 3 years later, they're going to make the playoffs.
Yep.
So suck on that, Lions fans.
I think
Yeah, the Browns. The
Browns.
Browns, who you love to dog because they're the Cleveland Browns and they're not the Detroit Lions, who you say are a worse franchise than you, 3 years after going 0-16 and only winning 4 games in 3 years, they're going to make the fucking playoffs this year. And where the fuck are you?
You're firing coaches.
The only acceptable argument at this point that I will take for Cleveland being a worse franchise than Detroit is based on nothing more than geographical location.
Yeah, it is Ohio, yeah. Yeah, fact. Yeah.
You're in Ohio.
Yeah.
It doesn't get worse than that, in my
Well,
opinion.
we all hate Ohio, and I get
Yes.
that. So I
But
understand
at the
where that
same
argument comes
time,
in.
that's the only thing
That's
that
it.
makes you better than them at this point.
I am glad you brought up the Browns because I do want to talk about that Monday Night Football game. That, like, if you're sat back and watch it like myself and like Frank did, and we're not a fan of either team that we're playing. That was just a fun football game to watch, especially the second half of that football game.
And just because I want to say it, I don't care what anybody says. Lamar was about to shit his pants.
Oh, he absolutely was. He could bullshit all you want. He was having cramps. Come on, dude.
Yeah, cramps in his abdomen.
Yeah, like, come on, man.
Dude just got over COVID. I get it.
Right.
That's one of the things that comes along with COVID. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're all human beings. We've all been in a position
So the
where
the
we've had
COVID
to-
the COVID shits are a thing.
the COVID shits are real. Yes.
Gotcha. All
I
right.
didn't know they could linger for this long, but
I didn't know it was a thing. Actually,
yeah, no, that's a friend of mine was the first person I knew who got diagnosed early on, and
That has been. That's a
yeah,
thing.
there was many requests for an Imodium delivery.
In that case, like once a week, I have COVID.
Like, it's a little bit more than anybody needed to know, but all right then. So there that is.
So Joe's plan today was to come on and offend half of you, and then tell you he almost shits himself sometimes.
All right, man. But anyways, like that game, had everything. Honestly, it really did. You had comebacks, you had great plays, you had like just back and forth. Defense was incredibly optional in this game last night.
Wait, it was an actual option? I thought they just negated defense altogether.
Last night's game, earlier on in the season, I was thinking about this before I had talked to Joe earlier. When I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. At the beginning of the season, you felt like him and I were both that Chris and I were both being haters when it came to the Cleveland Browns.
More Baker, but yeah.
It was more of I need to see something. The last 2 weeks have given me that something.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Like, he did what he needed to do to win that game, except for that interception, which we talked about before the show.
Yeah.
He's young. He's still going to make mistakes.
Right. He's a gunslinger. I mean, Favre did it all the time. It's what it is. But he showed
People
enough.
want to argue about Stafford being a good quarterback or not. The guy throws 5 a game.
Right. But Baker did what he had to do last night to win that game.
Yeah.
He brought his team back twice.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the defense flat out let him down. Granted, that pick wasn't ideal, but it didn't lose him the game.
No, it didn't.
Cody Parkey didn't help.
I was gonna say,
and you know my love for kickers.
Fucking kickers, man.
I
have no love for kickers.
I fucking hate kickers.
I love the brand.
You literally have one fucking job. Kick
That
the
li-
ball through the fucking uprights.
It's literally one job. You sit on the sideline and practice doing your you don't sit, but you practice your job on the sideline into a net the entire game, waiting for the 3, 4, or 5 times you're going to go out there and actually do the one thing you're supposed to do.
Yep.
As you stand on the sideline and practice doing what you're supposed to do, and you get out there and you don't do it.
I mean, if you watch football on
what
Saturday, a literal girl did it.
She did.
Yeah.
She absolutely did.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about her and her kickoff and all that, but this past weekend, she hit an extra point.
Yep.
That is something that kickers in the NFL are struggling to do right now.
Yes.
And I knew that they moved it when they moved it back. How far they like 10 yards, 15 yards? They moved it back?
Basically, I believe it's a 32-yard kick at
Which
this point.
for an NFL
because
kicker,
after the penalty, it was a 38-yard field goal, is what they had said.
So I'm sorry, for an NFL kicker, that should be damn near
Chip
automatic.
shot?
It should be automatic. You're an NFL kicker. That should be automatic.
Yeah.
I mean,
now when wind comes into play or a bad snap or a bad hold or something like that, I can forgive that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you had none of those conditions,
He missed a field goal and an extra point last night.
Yep.
And those 4 points, when it comes down to it,
those were
and
huge.
I know you're going to say, well, they lost by 5. Well, that's because
that backdoor cover, baby.
I only say that just because I knew you were irritated at the time.
Yeah. But that's because the fucking safety doesn't come into play if those 4 points are on the board.
No, it doesn't.
Because
No,
they're
the
not.
end of
They're
that
not.
game is entirely different
They're
if
not
those
tossing
points
the
are on
ball
the board.
around. They're kneeling down and running out the clock.
Yeah.
Like they're
By the
victory
way,
formation.
one of the first times I've seen people throw the ball around like that and continuously lateral it.
Yeah.
No penalties.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
You get kickoffs all the time. Penalty, penalty. And
There was
punts and
there was a lot of penalties last night in the first half.
Yeah, there was.
And then thankfully the second half was kind of
Just let 'em go, let 'em play.
penalty free.
let them play.
And I'm going to speak for somebody who is a fan of a team that played last night. It still was a fun fucking game to watch. I mean, I enjoyed every second of that game, other than the ending. With that said, like Frank, so we talked a couple weeks ago about the
Vegas Kansas City game.
Vegas Kansas City game, and you were disappointed and you were pissed off, and I tried to talk you off the ledge and say, listen, from where they were to where they are now, let's put a little perspective into it. And that's where I'm coming from. I'm pissed off. They should have won that fucking game. They gave it away. But when it comes down to it, again, they were 0-16 3 years ago. 1-15 the year before that. 4 wins in 3 years. I'm happy where they're going right now. They're 9-4. They're playing a New York Giants team next and a New York Jets team next, and they have Pittsburgh at the end of the season. Give me 3 fucking good games to get in the playoffs.
Now let's talk about Pittsburgh for a second. Now is that team is that team
Pittsburgh
fraudulent?
Pittsburgh played your
Yes, my Buffalo Bills.
And yes,
They're fraudulent.
they are fraudulent at this point in the season.
I think they blew their load early. And it's
That
a weird
happens.
way to put it, but they blew their load early in the season.
Yes.
That was set up so perfectly
It really
for you.
was,
I'm
too.
almost disappointed with how long it took you to get your finger on that
I
button.
didn't have it pulled up.
That's
what she said.
I was watching the game obviously because I'm a Bills fan, and Josh Allen once again. It's amazing what halftime adjustments do.
Yeah,
like when coaches actually make them.
When you have a coach that actually makes halftime
Yes.
adjustments.
Like
Yes.
the first half, Pittsburgh they blitzed the shit out of Josh Allen, and he struggled with it. He absolutely did. So the coaches said, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you a little bit more help on the O line, more blockers," and he tore him up. He tore him apart. He found Stephon Diggs, and they couldn't cover him, and he threw him damn near every play.
Yeah. I mean,
and-
Diggs had 10 of his 24 receptions.
Yeah. So it's okay. But he stepped up, and that was the game. I was impressed with the game against the 49ers, but this game really impressed me because it was against a supposedly great defense, which the Steelers' defense is good.
It's a
very good defense. And he stepped up and he did it again. I'm like, okay, all right. You showed me it again. All right. I'm hoping this trend continues, which would be awesome. But I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's just like this team, they can't run the ball. I mean, yeah, they got offensive weapons at wide receiver and dropped them as prime, but it's just like what this team is. I think like we were talking about the Bears when they were 5-1, and we're like that's the most fraudulent 5-1 team I've ever seen. This might be the most fraudulent 11-2 team I've ever seen. Like it's just like okay.
Yeah, they don't look good right now. They looked a lot better at the beginning of the season. They've had some injuries on defense,
which every team has.
Which again, every team has.
Yes.
I talked about it before the show with you guys with Cleveland.
Yeah.
Their defense has been decimated this year with injuries. And it's one of those things that you're going to deal with throughout the season, especially in COVID year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I agree with Frank. I think they blew it early, and I think they're just kind of coasting on their record at this point. And they have had a pretty easy schedule too. I'm not going to say they've had a hard schedule at all. They played a Cleveland team which was not quite grown into their own like they are right now. They weren't the team then that they are now.
No,
and they're just kind of coasting along on the record right now. And I think when it comes down to the playoffs, I believe they're going to get exposed drastically.
I could absolutely see that happening.
Because they kind of got exposed the other day. They've been exposed a couple games in a row now.
Mm-hmm. Like it's shown, if you can just block that pressure that they bring pretty much every down, you can pick that defense apart.
Yep.
If you have a competent quarterback, you can pick that defense apart.
Yes.
Yes. Which brings me to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. So is Jalen Hurts as bad as you thought he was?
Anything's better than Carson Wentz at this fucking point.
Well, no,
I was not a Jalen guy coming out. But
well, I was going to say in your original earlier on in the year, you said, is Jalen Hurts that bad that they don't have him starting over Carson Wentz? And my comment to you was, I think it's more a testament to coaching and the fact they don't want to bench Carson Wentz as opposed to how good Jalen Hurts is. He came out and looked fucking good, man. I mean, he took charge of that offense. He was a leader.
And I heard some comments come out from anonymous players of the Eagles. They're not exactly sad that Jalen Hurts or that Carson Wentz is on the bench.
Yeah. Well, see, and I'm going to go one further with the Carson Wentz thing, and I know you hate him, and I'm not as.
I don't hate him as a person. I just think he's a trash quarterback.
And
simple as that.
I see. He's a better quarterback than what he's been lately. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to throw it out there. And again, Frank and I have made this comparison before, the Ryan Tannehill thing. Mm-hmm. I think Peterson and the Philadelphia Eagles have ruined Carson Wentz. And I truly believe if he gets a shot somewhere else, that he'll show that. The talent didn't go away. It's all mental at this point. Mm-hmm. It's a mental problem at this point. And I think Philadelphia and Peterson have ruined him mentally. And if he gets on another team, depending on what that team is and what that situation is, like Ryan Tannehill did with Vrabel in Tennessee, I believe he can thrive again.
And actually, I was just thinking about it. I'm looking at the box score right now from their game this weekend. If Drew Brees is done, if this is indeed the last year of his career, that's a great landing spot for somebody like Wentz.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, it's a change of scenery.
Yeah.
It's Sean Payton, who knows how to work with quarterbacks. It's an offensive line that can block for you. Mm-hmm. Like, just a change of scenery might be what he needs.
And actually, that offense is conducive to a quarterback like Wentz. Mm-hmm. You know, they're having trouble right now with Taysom Hill in New Orleans because Taysom Hill is more of a runner. Mm. He's more of a gadget guy. He's not a true quarterback, whereas Wentz is a quarterback. He showed he was a quarterback. And he has legs. He can get out and run, but he's not a running guy. He's not a running quarterback, but he's athletic enough. He's mobile enough. I think you're right. I think that would be a good spot for him if Drew Brees moves on, or if they're looking to just back up Drew Brees for next year and have Carson Wentz take over after that. I think that's a great landing spot for him.
I look at Jalen's numbers from the weekend, and he's 17 for 30 for 167 with one touchdown. Not bad passing numbers.
What did he run for?
He ran for 106 yards.
Yeah.
So, again, if you can do what Baltimore's had an issue doing, and you can realize that, okay, your passing game, now with those numbers, the passing game in Philadelphia might be in better shape than it is in Baltimore.
Not much better.
Not much better, but a little bit better.
I think Jalen's a better passing quarterback than Lamar.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I'm
100%
saying.
agree with that.
There's no reason that if you can set this team up correctly, having Miles Sanders back there is a great back to have with somebody like Jalen. If you can set this thing up correctly, I think that's a win-win for Philadelphia. If they can get rid of Wentz, get yourself a higher-up draft pick, you're not going to get a first or a second for him, but if you can grab a third, take off with it.
I think I saw something the other day during the game. It was during the broadcast of the Red Zone. Mm-hmm. it was Philadelphia has only had one Pro Bowl draft, one draft pick become a Pro Bowler since 2007, I believe. I'm trying to
like Lions territory.
It was,
I thought
and
he
it
was
was
going to say like Reggie White or something like that.
no,
Like,
it was
holy
something. It was something ungodly. It was a long time, and I can't recall the exact year, but it was a long time. And it was Carson Wentz was the only one.
Oh no shit!
That was the only player they've drafted.
Even the year they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the only player they drafted.
Wow.
Since whatever that time frame was, and it was a long time. I can't recall the exact year, but it was one of those things where I looked at it, and it kind of goes to what I've been telling you is Peterson got lucky. Philadelphia got lucky. They didn't win that Super Bowl because of skill. They got lucky with that defense was playing outstanding. And
I don't know if you luck into a Super Bowl, man.
And Nick Foles was hot. You rode the hot
and that's
hand
fair.
through.
That's fine, but that's not luck. You don't luck into a Super Bowl, man. You don't.
You kind of do. So Nick Foles, is Nick Foles a good quarterback? He just got benched for
I understand that, but it's
Trubisky.
not luck. So we got hot. That's not luck.
It's not necessarily a skill either, because he's shown he's not as good a quarterback as he was that year.
He was serviceable for that particular offense.
Yes,
but that's not luck. You're playing within. You're managing the game like we talked about last week.
But he hasn't shown since then that they can do any of that.
It doesn't matter now.
Peterson hasn't shown that he can actually coach a team into the playoffs, let alone a Super Bowl anymore. So
Okay.
was it really skill that got them there?
At that point in time, yes. You can't luck into a Super Bowl, man. You just can't.
I believe you can. I believe you can. I believe that they got hot. They rode the hot hand, and it was one of those things where it just kind of all came together.
So when a team gets a hot goalie and they win a Stanley Cup, is that luck?
See, we're talking two different sports here, though.
But you're talking about a quarterback that got hot and they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, to win a Super Bowl, you only have to win like 3 games in the playoffs.
No, I understand that.
So to win a Stanley Cup, you have to win a lot more than that. So yes, luck is more involved in the NFL when it comes to winning a Super Bowl. It can be more involved than in a Stanley Cup playoff than in the NHL. You have to win more games in the NHL in a playoff.
I'm aware of that.
But I'm just saying that's why luck can become a thing. In the NFL playoffs, you can get lucky. And you can ride that luck.
I think at the NFL playoffs, you definitely can get lucky. I don't think you can get lucky 4 straight weeks to take you to a Super Bowl.
That's my point. You can't get lucky 4 straight weeks.
Right.
And you can't. That's why I say you can't luck into a Super Bowl.
Like,
that's my point.
I agree with what you're saying, but I also don't disagree with what you're saying, Joe. Like there is definitely times you can get lucky in the NFL playoffs. Is it going to happen for months straight? Probably not. But is it possible that Philadelphia was just a better team the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, and then Foles took over, and then Foles just got lucky for the last 2 weeks? That's entirely possible, in my opinion.
It's possible. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's.
I mean, you got to go through. You got to break down.
Like
the
I said,
whole
my whole point
thing.
was you can't luck into a Super Bowl. You can't get lucky 3-4 straight weeks.
You're not lucking all the way through the playoffs, all the way through the season into the playoffs.
Will you get like a break or two during the playoffs? Absolutely, 100%. Every team does.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the way I'm looking at Peterson. I'm looking at Philadelphia. I'm looking at the fact that everything aligned for them that year, and since then, they've not been able to show anything compared to what they had that year.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it just all came together for them. Whether you want to call it luck or the stars aligned or whatever,
luck or divine intervention,
right? Whatever it was, is to prove that it's not luck is what, in my opinion, Kansas City has done, and what Pittsburgh has done, what New England has done. When you have a track record of being able to have a playoff contending team, have a Super Bowl contending team year after year after year, Philadelphia had that one year. That was it. The stars aligned for them. They rode those stars to a Super Bowl. Foles came in. It wasn't even Carson Wentz at that point. Foles came in, played out of his mind. You haven't seen anything like that from him since. And it was one of those things where they wrote it. It is what it is. But they haven't been able to accomplish fucking anything since then. It's bad coaching, bad GM, and just a shit franchise at this point. Like, that's it. There's nothing else I can say about it. You're not going to repeat what you did because you're not good at your jobs.
I look at Peterson, though, and I'm not going to say that Peterson is a bad football coach because I don't believe he is. I just don't think the NFL game's for him. I think he is definitely the guy who's going to do what Harbaugh did. After he loses this job, whenever that may be, He ends up back in college, maybe has to build up his resume a little bit more. Will he try again? I'm sure. I have no doubts that if a Super Bowl is the end game for this guy, he's going to try to come back to the NFL. But I think he's going to make himself a nice home somewhere with a college program. And I think that's just where he needs to realize his forte is.
Yeah.
I mean, they have made the playoffs the 2 years after they won the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you're talking like they haven't even made the playoffs.
They're in the division with the Giants and the fucking Washington football team.
They're in the worst division in football.
Cowboys.
Yeah, basically, let's just say they're in the worst division in football. Like that hasn't been hard to do in their division. Let's just again, that's another thing that comes into it is that's why everybody dogs New England for winning so many division titles. Well, you've played in a shitty division. Well, look at that division. It hasn't been hard to win that division.
Right.
Okay.
It's you can make the playoffs. Listen, look at the team that's going to make the playoffs
That's bad.
in that division this year.
That shouldn't even happen.
So the team that's going to make the playoffs in that division this year is going to have a losing fucking record.
That shouldn't even happen.
It's not even just a 1-game losing record. Like they're going to have a losing record.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Like you should. Like I'm sorry, if you don't have at least a 500 record, you should not be able to make the playoffs.
They're really and I hate saying that you don't want a division winner to make it to the playoffs. But you can't have a team that's like
You can't. That's ridiculous.
like 7-5, whatever the fuck they're going to be.
That's ridiculous.
What I see happening though is exactly what we saw in college last week.
Well, they're just gonna...
You eliminate the under 500 division winner, and then you get some fucked up shit that happens in a couple of years, and then all of a sudden the NFL's meeting so they can get the Patriots or whoever,
right?
But whatever money machine is on the verge of being a playoff team.
But that's the thing. Like a sub 500 team is going to make the playoffs and keep out a team that has a winning record. To me, that's ridiculous. I don't agree with that.
It is. I see the argument on both sides because you have divisions for a reason. If you win your division, you should make the playoffs.
I get it,
but I agree with the aspect
that should be the caveat, though. You have to have a 500.
You have to have a 500 record. Yeah. It's. I mean, you're going to have a team that not only just has a losing record, and it's not a barely losing record. It's gonna be a shit record that makes the playoffs. And they're going to be hosting a playoff game.
That's even worse.
They're going to be hosting a playoff game with a wild card team that has a better record than them.
That I definitely don't feel should be taking place.
No, it absolutely
I think
shouldn't.
regardless of where you are in the standings, head-to-head game, better team has home field advantage. Don't care who the better team is.
Right. So not only are you going to have a team with a losing record, you're going to double down on it, and they're going to get a home fucking playoff game. God, it's like, what are we doing? What NFL? What are you doing here? This makes no sense, like whatsoever.
It's COVID year.
No,
but you know what does make sense?
Not a lot of things.
Talking to my guy Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank. Right now it's a great time to purchase a home or even refinance your existing home. So give my guy Jason Stiltner a call at Flagstar Bank. He'll give you the top-notch service that you're looking for. Flagstar, they're currently offering a 0% down home purchase program. However, this program won't last long, but the rates are incredibly low. So again, give my guy Jason Stiltner a call today at 248-675-0675. Trust me, you don't want to miss this great opportunity. The number again is 248-675-0675. Flagstar Bank is an equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 27546.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. I got a golf clap from Frank. Thanks, buddy.
I'm sorry, your segue wasn't as good.
I know. They can't all be.
You set the bar way up.
I know. They can't all be winners, man.
It's maybe one day you'll get a standing O, but for now you get.
I'll take it. Thanks.
You get the golf clap.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I said they can't all be winners.
No.
Somebody has to be the Eagles.
That's true. Yes, right.
Or the Lions.
Nobody wants to be the Lions.
Speaking of which,
I didn't think it was that bad.
No, I just wanted to throw one more thing out there for Lions fans that we're looking at that game, and it's something that it goes back to what I was saying. They don't ever look at the reality of it. They're delusional. And which one of you guys shared that's Detroit sports ranking of fans?
I did.
Okay.
That was Chris.
And it had the Detroit sports ranking of fans, right? And it had the Lions, the worst fans, and it had the Lions as number one in the Detroit area because they're delusional, right?
Yeah.
And the other ones were Michigan for being
Like assholes,
arrogant
basically. Yeah,
assholes.
assholes,
Michigan State for
Just being assholes.
it was, and then Red Wings fans for not being able to accept criticism and things like that. I completely agree with the number one on there.
Oh, God,
which is Lions are
It's not
fans
even
are
close.
delusional.
That's number one by a mile.
And they never look at what actually happens in the game other than the wrongs that happen from refs to them or something like that. And if you want to look at a reason why the Lions lost that game, look at the third quarter. Your Lions possessed the ball for 1 minute and 12 seconds in the third quarter. 1 minute and 12 seconds. Green Bay went on 2 long drives. The first one they scored a touchdown on in the third quarter. Then the Lions went 3 and out, 1 minute and 12 seconds off the clock. And Green Bay got the ball back. And they took the clock all the way down and went into the fourth quarter and scored another touchdown. So if you want to look at the reasons why you lost, it's not because they called a non-catch for Marvin Jones. It's not because of a ref's call, because on that same drive after that, the refs called 2 holding penalties against Green Bay. So if they really wanted to fuck you over, they wouldn't have called those penalties to where you would have scored a fucking touchdown. So look at the whole game overall and don't just look through Honolulu blue and silver glasses. Look at the entire game and take your head out of your ass. Period. Sorry, I had to say more.
No, you're 100,
I'm really fired up.
But honestly, you're 100% right about this because it's never on them. It's never on the team itself. It's always something else.
There's never any analyzation of the game. It's just the easy go-to to say the refs screwed us over again. It's the refs' fault. Oh, the refs are in the pocket
It's
of
the
Green
crutch.
Bay.
It's the crutch.
You're right. It's a crutch, and it's a go-to for them all the time. And it gets tiresome. Analyze the game and see what went wrong for the team before you instantly go to we got screwed.
And this is one of the reasons why this franchise knows they have you no matter what. Is because they know that you fans will never blame them. You'll never blame the team. You will never blame the organization. It's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah, and sorry, we kind of moved on from that. And I didn't want to just bring it back. But after you got done with that read, that's something that I really wanted to talk about, and I just kind of got off the topic when we were talking about it.
You're
and
right.
we do flow, we move on, and that's what happens. But it was just one of those things where you got to analyze the game, and you can't just look at how you got screwed. If you analyze the game, you'll see reasons why the team lost, other than the refs screwed us.
Okay. Dynamite analysis, Lion fan.
It really is. That's the go-to, man. It's annoying. Which is why I will never. They could literally get to the Super Bowl, and I would root for whatever team was fucking playing. I would root for Pittsburgh. Over them.
You know what? I would buy tickets and then sell them to a delusional Lion fan.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what? I'd make a ton of. I'd make
kidding?
a killing off those tickets.
You could retire.
I better be the first one on your list.
You better have the money, motherfucker. That's all I'm saying.
Pony up.
That's right.
This ain't never going to happen anyway, so I ain't worried about it.
Right?
When that day comes, you damn right I'll have the money for it.
Sounds like a plan. I dig it.
It's the biggest waste of
All right.
money I've ever seen.
I mean, it was going to be my retirement, but I mean, they're never making the freaking Super Bowl. So.
That's why I said this ain't never going to happen.
Ain't never going to happen.
not gonna happen anyway.
Are you tired of going from dealership to dealership looking for an automobile or a boat? Get in touch with Land & Sea Motorsports. They specialize in finding you the car, truck, or boat that you're in the market for. At Land & Sea Motorsports, tell them the type of vehicle and features you want that will fit your budget. They also offer shrink wrapping and winterization for all boats and jet skis. If your boat or vehicle need any repairs or cleaning, they offer a full detail division as well. So give them a call at 586-484-9798 or visit their website at landandseamotorsports.com. That's landandseamotorsports.com. Anytime I look over and I see Chris going,
That wasn't.
I go,
That's
oh
not.
boy.
That's not even what I didn't even do anything like that. I was
He
just
really-
kind of like.
He literally asked me. He goes, "Are we going to the picks next?" And I said, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's
and
what it was.
And then I just wanted to be a dick. So that's just kind of what happened.
That
there.
was well played. Good job.
If you notice, I was almost struggling at one point because it,
Definitely not
You were
alone.
waiting.
The next time you have an issue, there's only one place to call. Go to Pro Plumbing. They're a local family-owned company with 15 years of experience. Based in Centerline, they serve the Metro Detroit area, keeping your pipes clean and flowing with fair prices and happy customers. They're open 7 days a week for all your plumbing needs. The knowledgeable and experienced staff will keep you informed of their progress every step of the way to make your experience as smooth as possible. Call Go-To Pro Plumbing today at 586-250-2881. That's 586-250-2881. Go-To Pro Plumbing. When your pipes won't flow, call the pro.
It's time!
Time for the picks. I dig it. Yes. I forgot to tally up the things from last week, so that's on me, guys. I apologize for that.
That's like the second week in a row.
I know, man.
We can bring them up. Figure out how we did here.
All right, sounds good, Frank.
All right. I had just gotten off the page, but I will go right back to
I can't believe it's
that one's on you.
Scores.
There you go.
There we go. All right.
Why did I take the Pats? I'm an idiot.
That was one I actually wanted to call you guys about.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean, that game was what it was. If you look at it,
that was ugly.
New England just couldn't get any offense rolling, and they couldn't stop the run.
Why did you take the Vikings?
Because I didn't expect Dan Bailey to go Cody Parkey.
Yeah, that was bad. That was incredibly bad.
But I mean, he's Dan Bailey. He does that a lot, actually.
I know, but he's also like one of the most consistent kickers until 5 years ago.
Right. And I can't. Why did I take the Raiders? Holy shit! That game got their D coordinator fucking fired.
Thank God.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. What are you gonna do? Let's move on. Let's move on to this. Hopefully, I have a better week this week. I'll be okay with that.
I got last week's scores.
What do you got? What do you got?
What games did we pick?
We picked New England and
that was the Rams.
Yes.
Yep. Rams won.
Yes.
So Frank and I won that one.
Yeah.
All right. KC, Miami. We all took KC.
Yeah.
All took KC. Yep.
Minnesota, Tampa.
Yep. Chris, you and I took Tampa.
Yep.
Frank, you you took Cousins.
Yes.
the bank robber.
Like I posted, like Kirk Cousins' agent belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame for how much money that dude has stolen from teams.
Like I said, Kirk Cousins, DB Cooper.
Seriously, man.
Another DB Cooper reference.
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a
I'm
row.
going for three.
Are you like watching documentaries on DB Cooper or something?
Actually, there is a DB Cooper documentary on HBO Max. So yeah,
there you go.
That's exactly what I was watching.
Between episodes of NCIS?
Yeah.
No, actually, I kind of stopped after you guys made fun of me. It made me feel bad about myself.
So not to get off topic here, but we're going to for a minute.
Sorry.
Oh, God.
We tend to do this from time to time.
So, is HBO Max worth it? I don't want to plug HBO Max.
It is.
Is it?
Yes.
You have it?
Yes.
Yeah. The Roku doesn't support it yet, which
Yes,
is
it
why
does.
I haven't gotten it.
I will say
It doesn't. They don't have an app for it yet.
Yes, they do.
They don't.
Yes, they do.
They don't have an app for it yet.
I don't know.
HBO Max. They have an HBO one, but HBO Max they don't have one yet. I'm waiting for them to sign that deal. Then I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
But
Well, I will tell you this. If you're getting it just strictly for the Fresh Prince reunion,
no,
it is not worth it.
No.
But
that wasn't even on my radar.
There's a lot of people I've talked to that were like, I'm going to get it just for that. And it's not worth the $15 if that's all you want to watch.
No.
But with the things that HBO's got rolling out and the things that with the
already had,
WB and all that, and everything that's already on there.
They're going to be it's going to be. I'm looking forward to the movie aspect of it, which they also have other stuff too. But the Justice League remake or the Schneider cut, all the movies,
So it's
all the movies
been
that are
nice, and especially with you know my opinion of most of the WB DC universe. It's been nice to go revisit those movies in anticipation of the ones coming out. But with everything that's supposedly coming out next year, you're getting one new movie a month.
Right. So they're releasing all their movies on HBO Max at the same time they release them at the theaters because of everything that's going on.
Right.
Wonder Woman's coming out Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Eve Day.
Christmas Eve or Day. That's when I'm going to do the free trial on it. Is get that, even though
I don't know that the free
Roku
trial
doesn't
is going to
support
give you access to Wonder Woman though, because it said on there for subscribers it will be free.
Oh, okay. Well, if I subscribe, I'll subscribe to it. But,
bottom line, yes, it's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you'll have to show me how to get it on Roku then, because from what I've seen, they haven't signed a deal yet, so they don't support an app. You just have to do a workaround to get to it. But and also, sorry, one more thing. We'll get into the picks.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. Frank, you just watched Die Hard.
I did.
For the first time.
For everybody
First
out there.
timer.
Yeah, first time Frank watched Die Hard.
Which is a shame in and of itself.
Frank, how old are you?
33.
33 years old, never seen Die Hard. And he watched it because we had gotten to the discussion of, was Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? And Frank, I'm anxious to hear your exact thoughts. We talked about this a little bit. what are your exact thoughts on is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And what did you think about Die Hard since you took 33 years to fucking watch it?
So my thoughts on Die Hard were unfortunately what ends up being my thoughts on a lot of movies that I watch at this point. It has been built up so much that I was expecting, just the most.
Well, if you didn't
epic
take 33
movie
years to watch a movie, it wouldn't be
that's
built
why I
up that
say,
much.
Like, partially it is my own fault that it just kind of was. It was a good movie. It just wasn't anything that was like groundbreaking. I didn't see the life-changing movie that everybody talks about.
It's a fucking classic.
Now,
yes, it is.
As far Chris is like shooting daggers out of his eyes at me.
It's
His
it's just so sad.
I know.
Bottom lip is like quivering.
It's just so sad.
I know. I actually am sad over this because it's such a classic movie. It's one of those movies that if it's on, I'm watching.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Like if I'm flipping channels, which doesn't happen much anymore, but if I flip and I see Die Hard's on,
you're watching it.
I'm watching it. I'm wherever it's at in the movie,
edited
I'm
or
watching it.
unedited.
Yeah,
I'm fucking watching
Yep,
it.
Exactly.
As far as it being a Christmas movie, my feelings are exactly what I told the both of you in our group text.
That's what we want you to say.
It is. Fuck it, we'll just post those things for you guys to read later, and let's go to the picks.
I thought you were going to say something different than what you told us.
Are you going to?
No, but that's what I wanted you to get into is because we already know our opinions and we'll give those too. But I'm as a fresh perspective, I want to get your opinion.
You guys threw me under the bus right as Andrew was watching.
Oh, yeah?
Andrew just commented, said it's about damn time I watched it.
Yes,
100%.
Andrew, I fucking agree with you, bro. You and I both know it's like pulling teeth trying to get this guy to watch any movies that he hasn't seen. It's insane.
I like what I like.
Well,
I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
You don't know if you like something if you don't watch it.
But I also know that I won't waste my time if I watch something I know I already like.
But to me, it is a waste of time to not see new things. To me, like I want to see all the movies.
So
not
do I.
just not
I
just
just want
the
to
same.
see the ones that I
not
know
just
I
the
like.
I'm kind of in between on that. Honestly.
Like I'm always down to watch a new movie.
Like I'm not the biggest movie guy in the world. You know
Yeah,
that.
no, I know.
But
to give Chris what he wants.
Yeah.
It is the most epic Christmas movie that's not a Christmas movie that is a Christmas movie of all time.
Did any of you follow that?
This movie has nothing to do with Christmas.
But everything to do with Christmas.
But if it's set at any other point of the year, like Joe has hammered home for
yes, 2 weeks
2
now.
weeks now.
Yes.
No, if it's not at a Christmas party, these events probably don't take place. They don't happen. Yeah. Those things everybody's not together. The whole spiel. If you could help me out here, you've seen it 12 million times. You know better than I do. I sound like an idiot.
There's a lot of things that go into it. I mean, the reason they're pulling off the heist then is because it is Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's at the Christmas party. They're all gathered in the same room.
Relax, Theo. It's the time of miracles.
Christmas is the time of miracles. There's a lot of references to Christmas. There's Christmas songs in it.
You got an amen, by the way.
At the end of at the end of the movie, the gun is strapped to his back by Christmas wrapping,
tape,
Christmas tape.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I'm not going to go on and on and go into it, but there's so many aspects that go into this movie being a Christmas movie. The fact that people argue it's not is insane to me. It is a Christmas movie. At the same time, it's an action movie.
Now I have a machine gun.
Ho ho.
I mean,
and one thing I will say, it is always nice when you not discover, because obviously this movie's been at the forefront of movies for 40 years almost. But when there's an actor like Alan Rickman who's been gone for a while,
I think it's the best bad guy movie.
So great,
and you get to just rediscover how great he was.
It was amazing, that movie.
Yeah,
amazing.
That part I was really grateful.
I read
for.
it in Phobes.
Yeah,
it's just like
it's such.
It's like you want to hate him so much, but you can't.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
I might have to pull it up and watch it for sure.
Sorry, folks. Let's get into the picks.
Yes, let's get into this week's.
You
picks.
can blame me for that one, guys.
No, I'm glad we got into that. That needed to be discussed.
No, I'm over here now having an argument with a friend who's also a viewer of the show.
Yes,
because I told him to shut up, and now that's not nice.
Is this friend giving you shit about?
Yeah, yeah.
Friend, you are 100% correct in whatever you were saying to Frank.
Is it Andrew?
Yeah,
Andrew, you're correct.
You're absolutely correct.
He said, "I said, shut up, Andrew," and he said, "No, that's not a nice way to talk to a viewer." So I said, "Fine, fuck you then."
Also not a nice way to talk to a viewer.
No, that was apparently acceptable.
Oh, okay.
All right, fair enough.
Well, actually, I told half of our viewers to fuck off earlier. So
Yeah, you kind of did. Yeah.
Not entirely sure how many we. Oh,
I called them all losers too.
he said at least we have 2 smart people here.
Yeah,
All right.
I would agree with that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right.
Thanks for listening too, Andrew.
Yeah,
I guess
appreciate
I'm
it.
down a friend now.
Yeah.
We each gained one.
Sweet. All right, let's get into these picks. Thursday night, Vegas versus the Chargers.
Vegas versus the Chargers. So I'm gonna go with Vegas in this one, and simply for the fact that it's what I discussed with you guys before, and I believe it was last week or the week before, is Anthony Lynn is not a good coach. He's not a good coach during game time. He might be a good X's and O's guy during the week in coaching and practice and all that, but when it comes to game time coaching, in-game coaching, he's as bad as Caldwell. It's just not good. And I can't take a team that is coached by somebody like that. They should not have the record they have right now, and they wouldn't have that record if they had a different head coach. So I'm going to go with Vegas.
I'm also going to go with Vegas. You kind of nailed it on the head right there. I think that team is so broken from some of the ways they've lost games this year. It's amazing. And I mean, Justin Herbert, he's been a stud this year. But with the Raiders changing their defensive coordinator, I think they're going to bring like a new scheme out. And I think it's going to push them over the top. So yeah, give me the Raiders.
So before the show, we chose what our picks are, and I picked the Raiders.
Yes.
And as the show's gone on, I got notification. I told you guys earlier that Ruggs has been thrown on the COVID list.
Yeah.
I all of a sudden got this gut feeling that this is going to be like one of those games where the Raiders are teetering. And I'm actually thinking about changing my pick right now because I just have this vision that the Raiders are going to fall off the cliff with a loss like this. And that's just going to, what I wanted them to do in the Kansas City game that we talked about earlier, where that was going to give them that next step. I feel like with these guys that they're losing and changing the D coordinator and everything, if they lose this game, that's just going to put an end to the Raiders for this year.
Yeah, probably.
And I just have this gut feeling that I've not been able to shake since seeing that. So I'm actually going to flip script here, and I'm going to take the Chargers.
All right.
Okay. Moving on.
Allowed to change your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, we're going to go with the Sea Chickens and the Washington football team.
Frank, you lead this one off, bud.
The Sea Chickens and the Washington football team, we're going to attach ourselves to the Russ bandwagon again. I think the Alex Smith Cinderella story has been wonderful, but I think it's going to come to a crashing end very quickly here.
Fair enough. I'm also going to take the Sea Chickens. I'm not even sure if Alex Smith is going to play. And if Dwayne Haskins has to start that game, by all means, give me the Sea Chickens. Dwayne Haskins he's a bust. The dude is a bust. It's just like Penn State running backs, besides Saquon, and Ohio State quarterbacks.
I was just going to say,
fucking terrible. Once they hit the league, they're terrible.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, okay, Joe Burrow.
Smartest thing he did was leave Ohio State.
Right. But it's like it's so like once Ohio State quarterback hits the league, it's like they have no idea how to play football anymore. It's amazing.
I mean, I can take that all the way, just in my memory from when I watched, all the way back to Krenzel.
Yeah.
Just guys that never panned out,
Right.
that were so good
Like Troy
in college.
Smith.
Yep.
It's like, okay. And
What did he end up being, like
he was like a
fifth
running back
receiver
it
for
was
Oakland at one point?
Terrible, man. But yeah, give me the Sea Chickens.
This one's a little tough because Washington has shown some life lately.
Yeah, and their defense is actually pretty good.
Their defense is one of the best in the league.
Chase Young has looked fantastic.
It's too bad their offense is nothing special, and they have some special players on it. But Gibson is out. Their running back that came on this year that looks lights out. He's hurt. They're down to McKissick and Peyton Barber, the cast off from Tampa. And like you said, Alex Smith might not play. So with that being said, I got to take Seattle, even though their defense is porous. It's played better lately, and Washington's defense is the only thing that keeps them in games. And I think Russ and that offense are going to be enough to overcome that defense. I mean, at that last game, Washington, their defense scored two touchdowns.
I believe so, yeah.
This last week, and that's the reason why they won. I mean, they didn't score hardly anything with their offense. Their defense scored 2 touchdowns.
When did Haskins come in that game? Third quarter?
Third quarter, I believe.
I said if he's running the show, but yeah, by all means, give me the chance.
And I'm going to take him anyway because there's other injuries and other factors. But yeah, I mean, if he's in there, it's almost a lock in my opinion for Seattle.
All right, moving on, the Eagles and Cardinals. I'll start this one off. I'm going to take the Eagles. I think they're going to kind of ride that momentum of Jalen Hurts being named the starter, and like we talked earlier, players again they don't seem too sad about Carson Wentz being benched. No, they don't, and I think they want to play for Jalen Hurts, and I think they come out and they take down the Cardinals.
And I'm going to agree with you on that one. I look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a good team. There's nothing wrong with them, but they're also a very beatable team.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's just kind of what I look at right now with Jalen Hurts and the fact he's so young. You don't really know how to game plan for some of these newer quarterbacks. I just think they're going to capitalize on a whole lot of one-off type situations right now, and I think they're going to take the W.
Yeah.
I was a little torn on this game, and I'm going to take Arizona in this game. Simply because, one, I mean, we already made the picks, kind of, but we glossed over them before the show. But also, I'm definitely taking Arizona right now because I didn't know what you guys took, and I just want to pick opposite you in this game, even though I was torn on this game. And if it was Wentz starting at quarterback, I wouldn't be as torn. With Hurts being in there, I think this team might have a little more life. I still think Arizona pulls it out, and I also just want to pick opposite of you guys and say fuck you. So
Andrew's agreeing with you.
All right, Andrew.
He's calling cards 24-17.
Calling the score. I dig it.
I like the way you think, Andrew.
He called the Seattle game as well.
Nice.
Took Seattle 31-10.
Nice. Moving on. Let's go to the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants.
I'm going to take Cleveland in this one. The New York Giants are a dumpster fire of dumpster fires, and there's several teams like that in the league right now.
Yes, there is.
And they are one of them, and it's exactly what the Cleveland defense needs is to go up against Daniel Jones and his endless turnovers. He's got more turnovers than a bakery. Like that guy just serves up turnovers.
Yes.
So I'm all about that, and that's what the defense needs in Cleveland is they need some turnovers, and Daniel Jones just whether it's a fumble or an interception or whatever, he's going to give you a couple a game. So I'm taking Cleveland.
I'm also going to take Cleveland. They're for real. Anybody that doesn't believe that they are is an idiot. That team is for real. The Giants' defense is a solid defense, but their offense is just abysmal. And like you just said, I think that'll be a tremendous help to I'll say a subpar Cleveland defense.
Yeah.
But I think they'll have enough to stop that Giants offense, and I think Baker has a big game, and I'm taking the Browns.
I will never pick somebody named Daniel Jones, so give me the Browns.
That's really random.
That's a weird name to hate on.
Yeah. Well, I got my reasons.
Fair enough.
Daniel Jones is who harmed you.
Nobody
that was
harmed
named
me.
Daniel Jones.
Nobody harmed me.
That's just a really random name.
I got my reasons.
It's a random name to hate.
No, it just
Daniel Jones.
Don't like people named Daniel Jones.
Where did Daniel Jones touch you?
Thank God never did.
All right, sounds good.
Show us on your little guy there. Show us on your little guy there where Daniel Jones touched you.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, my child.
Yeah, there you go. I totally saw that coming. Chiefs, Saints.
Chiefs and Saints. Okay, I'm gonna take the Chiefs in this one. It's a New Orleans team that just doesn't look right without Breeze in there. Not like they looked right with him in there either.
Right.
But with Taysom Hill in there, that offense is definitely something that takes a step back.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're not sure. Like, I give Sean Payton a lot of credit. He knows he's one of the best offensive minds in the game. Has been for years. But I think he's at a loss for how to truly use Taysom Hill at quarterback. And I honestly think they would have been better served putting in Jameis Winston at quarterback. Unfortunately, even though Winston is not a great quarterback, But
He
he's
got
more,
LASIK though. He can see now.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, he can at least see who he's throwing the fucking ball to now.
Can you see how stupid he looks when he eats the W?
Yeah, yeah, and he still keeps doing that for some reason. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs in this one. I think they roll in this game, and I think they get one more game closer to being having a bye in the playoffs.
I'm also gonna go with the Chiefs. Kind of for the same reasons. It's just that offense. It just looks like I don't know. It's not. It doesn't look fluid with Taysom Hill there, and I do think Jameis would have been a better fit.
So the comparison that I got for Taysom, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful.
Do it.
You're going Tebow?
No, he's Denard Robinson.
Yeah,
a bigger Denard Robinson.
He's good at a lot of different things.
Yeah.
He's just not great at any one thing.
That's fair.
And he's not a quarterback.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
That's just the
like
one
this
thing.
dude could return your kicks and be phenomenal.
If you put him in as a tight end,
yeah,
that
well,
dude-
that's what they've done. They've put him at tight
Yeah.
end. They put him at halfback. You know, they've spread him out wide. They've done a lot of things with him. He shouldn't have been named the starter.
Right.
No, God, no.
After Breeze got hurt. I mean, that just to me is one of those questionable.
I understand
things.
why they did it because that was where they wanted to go with their future. But I think this season's given you the opportunity to see that
he's
this
not.
isn't
He's not
your
it.
future.
Yeah, he ain't it. They said make him a full-time tight end. That guy will be a freaking beast.
Yeah.
Or just utilize him like you have been, and spread him around the field. Use him in gimmick plays. Use him how you have, and put Jameis in there until Breeze comes back because I think you'd be better served with him back there.
Right there, like you said, though, gimmick plays. A coach like Sean Payton knows how to do creative things.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking put him with somebody like Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick will have a field day with that fucking guy.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll be doing tight end passes half the game. But
Yep.
for right now, just to solidify my pick, I'm going with Kansas City as well, just because I can't see this New Orleans team really going anywhere. They're almost the epitome of mediocrity with him at quarterback.
Yeah.
Monday Nighters, Steelers, Bengals.
Oh, this one's gonna be easy for me.
It's Monday night. That's the only reason why I picked it.
No, I know. It's we always do the primetime games, and I'm just
except
gonna,
that when it involves the NFC East.
Yeah, except when they're that bad.
Yeah, I think we skipped one, didn't we?
We
Yeah.
did.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this one. Even though they haven't looked good, their run game is almost non-existent at this point in the season. Their defense is taking a step back because they've had some injuries, and they just don't look right. I still have to take them over the Kyle Allen or Brandon Allen.
I was just going to
Whoever-
ask, who the hell is the quarterback for the
Brandon Allen?
Bengals right now?
Brandon Allen, I think.
Is Joe Burrow still dead?
I think so.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's out for the season.
Okay.
Might not even be back for the beginning of next season.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, Brandon Allen, Kyle Allen, Mr. Allen. I don't know who's playing a quarterback for Cincinnati.
29 to 250.
29 to 250. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh.
Yes, Pittsburgh. Just purely because they're just better. Simple as
Yeah.
that. They're just better.
Yeah.
Even though we dogged them, they're better than
They're
Cincy.
better, and I have no idea who's playing quarterback for the Bengals. So
Mr. Allen,
Mr. Allen, apparently
29 to 250.
29 and 250.
I kind of want to go buy shoes now. Nah, I'm gonna piggyback off the both of you and take Pittsburgh. There's just Cleveland. Cincy's just one of those teams right now that there's not much that's gonna go right.
That's a slip of the tongue.
Yeah,
That's a slip of the
I'm
tongue.
so used to saying Cleveland's
Yeah.
dog shit.
Yeah.
That instead of saying Cincinnati, yeah,
Slip of the tongue.
yeah, it happens. But I don't see Cincy working with anything that's really feasible.
Right, exactly. Like, okay, there's kind of like
Yeah.
there. There's kind of like there.
Like, thanks for showing up, guys, but
Right.
what are you gonna do?
And then obviously the biggest game of any weekend is the Detroit Lions at the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Simple. Easy.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah, it's a clean sweep.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
And if you look on your little piece of paper there, I will own it. I
Oh,
thought about it.
Wow, he did almost think he had to cross, he
I
crossed
didn't-
it out.
I had to cross it off. Wow. It was nothing more than they have no reason to win this game, and when the Lions have no reason to win a game, that's when they win the game.
Bruh.
But then I look at this screen, and Andrew, one last time coming into the clutch. Derrick Henry very well may run for 500 yards.
I was just going to put the over-under on
Yes.
the over-under on how many yards Derrick Henry runs for, set it at 175.
I would actually, yeah.
I think he cracks too.
I think he cracks too. Also, I really truly believe that. I mean, he cracked 2 this last weekend.
Yeah.
I think he cracks too. I mean, they're going to be in control of this game for most of the game. The only reason he might not crack too is if they're winning by so much that they take him out of the game.
Right. I'm calling 3 touchdowns.
I can see that.
Probably in the first half.
All right. Yeah, that's honestly if I had to make a reason of why I'm picking the Titans, it's Derrick Henry. That's it. Honestly, that's it.
There's just
there's
some teams that I feel like the Lions just can't out-Lions themselves against. And I think Tennessee right now is going to be one of them. Especially because Tennessee can't afford to lose a bad game like that.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
No.
Like they're playing with a lot of reason.
Yes. I agree with that, and those are the picks for this.
All right. So, anything else you boys want to get into before we get out of here?
No, nothing that I can think of off the top of my head, anyways.
No? Any shout outs?
Shout out to everybody listening. We greatly appreciate it. We love the interaction with you guys. I honestly, I wish we'd have more of it.
Yeah,
I think it'd be great.
Yeah, if we had more, if anybody wants to join in, message us on anything. We try to keep track of everything as we're going and keep track of the messages, and we love when people join in for
Absolutely.
sure. So it's nice.
Just adds to it. Gives us something.
Absolutely, yeah.
Gives us a different point of view. Like,
absolutely.
We all know our points of view.
Yeah,
we
want to hear your.
going.
That's kind of what we're trying to do here. Like you guys are listening, we appreciate that, but we also want to know like your prerogative on things.
Give us some feedback. Message us. Anything you can do, and we do appreciate you listening. I do want to give one shout out to Bald Man Entertainment, Steve Waddell. He gave our show a shout out on his site the other day, and he listens all the time. He's gotten some of his coworkers to listen.
Appreciate it.
Some of his friends. And so, Steve, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the shout out the other day. And Bald Man Entertainment, go check it out.
Yes, like I said, and everybody that's been liking our page and sharing our stuff. You don't even know how much that means to us. We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to end the show for today. Give us a like, a share, and a follow on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. You can find all of our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. As always, check out our website, sotdet.com. You can see all of our show picks and our blogs. Also take a look at our weekly fantasy rankings, along with weekly insight like starts and sits for every position and injury reports. Again, that's sotdet.com. Thank you all for listening and or watching. On behalf of Chris and Frank, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No.
Bye, buddy. No!
Goodbye.
No! Goodbye! No!
It's never goodbye.
Hey.
You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
You were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.